What's going on, Roasters? It's Brian Baldinger with the NFL Network, and you're listening to The Morning Roast with Bonte and Shasky on 95.7.
Let's go!
Our boy Baldy. You know where he's at right now?
No, where is he?
L.A. He's getting ready to call
White
Chargers and Cowboys, I believe. He was at that scrimmage. It's white jeans, Baldy. Can't wait to talk some football. With him, we're going to talk football as well with Brad Graham. If you don't know who Brad Graham is, go follow him at SF Niners. He is pumping out content left and right. He had a Nick Bosa mixtape from yesterday's joint practice in Eagan, Minnesota. You say a rising star. No. He's not a rising star.
I didn't mean it like that.
No. I know what you meant.
Yeah, I meant it in the highest of compliments.
To me, he is doing a great job, and I'm so happy for him. He's also a new father. He's also a new daddy, so I want to give him congrats on that as well. 888-957-9570. How you feeling about the Giants right now? We'll get to the Niners
Listen to
the
this.
next hour. Go ahead.
Oh, my God. From the 669, Yo, Joe. I sat next to your dad last year at a game, and he still wasn't happy. I could just imagine him this year. Your pop's got hella baseball knowledge.
Whoa.
I forgot. I don't know what else the rest of it is.
I need to hear from Pops. I would love to hear from Pops. I haven't heard from Pops in a long time. I would love to hear from Pops about his thoughts on the Giants. But here's what I thought. And playing those clips kind of jogged my memory back. And I remember when Kapler got hired. I was working with Steiny and Goo at the time. And Steiny and I were in a camp and was like, is Kapler going to be around by 2023, 2024? When he got hired, I originally thought, okay, when the Giants are ready to take off again and be contenders, Kapler's going to be gone. He'll be the Mark Jackson of the SF Giants. He'll be the placeholder. He'll be the Mike Singletary. He'll get them playing hard. He'll get people feeling good, but they'll be coming up short. And they'll say, and Farhan will say one day, you know what, I can't win with this guy. He's a stepping stone to the next manager.
The Doug Collins to the Phil Jackson.
There you go.
Well, at least that's what you would hope. Yeah.
Dale Harris to Phil Jackson.
Yes.
With the LA Lakers.
It's an interesting point of view. Keep
but
going.
He won 107 games last season. Helped the Giants win 107 games last year. He wins NL Manager of the Year. I'm like, well, damn, maybe Kapler is a long-term fix. Maybe Kapler will be around for a long, long time. Now when you hear answers like that, he's going back and forth with Slusser, and he's going back and forth with Pavlovich, and he's getting testy on just a simple question. Why didn't you pinch run for Tommy LaStella? We all know Tommy LaStella can't. Hell, you and I can beat Tommy LaStella in a race right now. No joke. I think we could beat him in the 40-yard dash right now, Tommy LaStella. I'll blow out both my hamstrings, but I'll beat him in a race, right?
Eisen.
I'll blow out my hammies. And he's getting testy about that. Now it brings me back to saying, you know what? Maybe he is still a placeholder because this team is think about where this team is at right now, this franchise. What pillars do they have? They came out with the new top 30 in the Giants system.
Yeah.
What pillars do they have right now in this organization? And everybody, I'm blown away by how everybody that covers this baseball team, they keep making a point to say these guys are going to be ready in 2024. And that's where they're going to see where this organization's at. Well, what about 2023?
What about 2022? I mean, what about this year?
So I'm kind of going back to that stance where I'm like, maybe he is just a placeholder. And maybe Kapler knows that. Maybe deep down inside he knows that, like, you know what? When this team's ready to go again, I'm not going to be the skipper for this organization. I for some reason,
no, it's an interesting point.
Listening to that audio, I'm thinking to myself, maybe he is the Mark Jackson here.
I can't dismiss anything you said. In fact, the more that I'm digesting it, I feel like you're probably onto something there. But here would be my pushback. Aren't managers all interchangeable to the analytic types, to the deeply data-driven organizations, which it feels like every organization is? Aren't they all interchangeable?
No doubt.
So would it even matter, like, taking him out of the equation?
Yeah, because
you look at the type of,
no, because from what we've been told, like, for example, Dave Roberts with the Dodgers.
Yeah.
We all hear that Andrew Freeman says, okay, here you go, Dave. Here's today's lineup.
He writes it for him or puts it into the,
Kevin Cash in Tampa Bay. Hey, Kevin Cash, here you go.
Yeah.
Hell, Aaron Boone, I think Brian Castro, the company, their analytics department. All right, Aaron, this is what we're going to do today.
Yeah.
That's a lot. There's a lot of that going on in baseball. That's why guys are getting hired. A lot of no-neighbors are getting hired now as managers. I heard Will Venable, who's from San Rafael High School.
Yeah, him and
he's
his
going to be in
brother
the
Max.
line. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
going to be in line for the Texas Rangers job.
He
He's a bench
struck
coach
out-
right now with the Red Sox.
Sorry, he struck out at the end of the 2010 season when the Giants clinched the NL West on the final day of the year.
Yep.
B. Weezy struck him out, and then we did a giant, celebration on the field.
Yeah, he's San Rafael High School. He was like he was a 3-sport star.
Well, his
San
brother played
Rafael.
at Boise State.
Yeah.
And then
He played at Princeton.
Yeah, and then his dad played with Kruk and Kipe.
Yep.
At one point, or played with Kruk, I believe, or was it Kipe? We played with one of them for sure. But yeah, you're not wrong.
He had an awful lot of information.
Yeah, I know the Venables, but I'm trying to give the guy love because he's local.
Right.
I just don't know if changing the manager does it. Like, I don't want to call for people's jobs. I don't think Kapler is the reason that they're in the position that they're in. I really don't. I actually give him a little bit of credit to the sense where I don't think they'd even be near 500 without the plug and play. Now, if that's the spreadsheet telling them exactly what to do, then how much has really changed if you change out a manager?
I feel like,
you're not calling for a sack.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
You're trying to read the room on what his feel is.
But also, we're sitting here, and we were discussing this a couple months ago, where I said, you know what? It's time to hold Farhan Zaidi accountable.
I've been saying that.
We go to these games, and we see these lineups, and we see the names on the back of the jersey. What's going on here? This is year 4. And we've given him a pass for the first year because it was Bochy's last season. We gave him a pass for the pandemic. They didn't win 107 games. Now we want to see it. Next season is going to be year 5. And none of these prospects seem like they're going to be ready, Shasky.
No.
None of the prospects he's drafted are really doing well in the minors. There's a lot of guys who are flailing. Hunter Bishop, what's going on with them?
Yeah.
What's going on with the catcher out of NC State? Who is it? Philip Davidson? Patrick Bailey.
I mean, look at B. Here's a great example. You see this kid, Reggie Crawford, and this is more baseball in general. Reggie Crawford. There is like a little bit of buzz on the internet and for Giants fans regarding Reggie Crawford. If you don't know who Reggie Crawford is, he's a left-handed dual pitcher and hitter. Coming out of Connecticut, UConn, who they drafted in the first round this year. Looks like Aaron Judge left-handed, like physically looks like him. Giants fans are like, wow, look at this Reggie Crawford. We won't see this kid for years. And it feels like you get excited about somebody and then they get buried and you never hear about him again.
Right.
Elliot Ramos just got called up to
he's on a taxi squad now,
Yeah, he just got called up to the big league club. Does it do anything for anyone? We've been hearing about Elliot Ramos for 4 years now.
No, because it feels like he's going to get a week to produce, and if he doesn't produce, he'll be back in Sacramento.
A week? Does anyone on this team play for a week straight?
No, it feels like they don't. They don't.
Yeah.
And Joey Bart, by the way, batting 8th again yesterday in that lineup. I get it. Zach Gallen's a righty. All right, whatever. But I do wonder what Gabe's leash is or how much juice he has with Farhan and his organization. Is he the guy? Is he really the guy for the Giants to take them to the future?
Can I be honest?
Like, we know Shanahan's the guy, we know Kerr's the guy.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't know Bochy was the guy.
We didn't?
I thought Bochy was, and I'm being full. Look,
I thought
people can look at it however they want now in retrospect. In real time, I thought he was a placeholder retread to hold the place while Barry Bonds finished out the end of his career, because that first year for Bochy was the final year of Barry Bonds. And until the Don Mattingly situation in Dodger Stadium, where he called out Mattingly for going to the mound twice, nobody thought that Bruce Bochy was going to be anything other than a placeholder.
Well, I know when he was hired, I said, why? Why Bruce Bochy? Really, Bruce Bochy, the guy from San Diego?
He did take him to the World Series in retrospect.
He did. But I thought, Bruce Bochy, really?
It felt like a retread hire.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Especially after the way Felipe Alou the whole thing ended.
But this feels different because when they did hire Gabe Kapler, their entire introductory press conference, we were talking about press conference earlier, it's like, do you take a lot of stock into press conferences? Well, that's an introductory press conference where I was like, we talked nothing about the baseball team, and the first 40 minutes of that presser was about what happened in L.A. in 2016.
Yeah.
And it said a lot about Kapler. Now he's rehabilitated himself. He's been a pillar of the community. You see how he embraces the Warriors and the Niners. He's riding his bike around. He's going to outside lands. He's doing all that stuff. But I wonder how Farhan views him. Is he a long-term fixture with the Giants?
I don't know.
I just don't know.
Don't you also think, like, the history of the Giants, the manager position is actually dramatically underrated in terms of how it's perceived? I look at the Pittsburgh Steelers and we make such a big deal of they've only had 3 or 4 coaches since the beginning of time. Right? since you and I became into our baseball, loving selves, essentially since like 85, it's been Roger Craig, the old white hum baby Roger Craig, not the running back, okay? Dusty Baker, Felipe Alou, Bochy, Kapler. 5 guys in 40 years, essentially.
Right.
That's a pretty good run in baseball.
That's a damn good run.
That's a pretty good run in baseball.
That's a damn good run. But
this does feel short term, though.
Yeah, I feel like if I sit here right now and you ask me, if I was to bet on something, and you said, Bonte, Butcher, you said, hey, Bonte, you think Kapler's going to be the manager? Like Dusty Baker, right? What was he the manager for?
Almost a decade.
Almost a decade.
Of 93 through 2002, and then he had his tax information leaked as the team threw him out the door, and he went to the Cubs the next year.
So this is year 3 for Kapler. He signed the extension. This would have been the last year of his original deal.
Yes.
He signed the extension. What's the extension for? Another 2 years, I believe?
Yeah, he got a 2-year extension after the 107-win season.
So that takes him through 2024.
I think, yeah.
This would have been This would have been the last year of his deal.
Okay.
To me, it doesn't feel like Kapler's going to be the manager here for 8 years. With how far this team is away from, like, honestly contending. And as a Giants fan, I'm thinking to myself, Shasky, what is it?
It's 2023 and 2024. He would have been, had he not got the extension, this would have been the final year of his contract.
So 2024.
Wow, you were on that.
I don't know. When I hear those sound bites and I hear how testy he's getting, and he's like the Brendan Belt bunt, I get it. You got to back your players up. You got to back a veteran up because you risk losing the clubhouse. But that's indefensible. Brendan Belt, you're number 5 hitter bunting with 2 strikes with a runner on second or third, and you like Brendan Belt's not a sprinter. You know what I'm saying? Is he even going to beat out the butt? To me, that's indefensible.
This will never happen. Ever. It'll never happen. I freely admit this. You know what they should do.
DFA him?
No.
What?
Like, they should sincerely, and they would never do this. Will Clark wants to coach. He wants to be the manager of a team. Well, and I know it's bucking the complete trend of everything that this current baseball game is about. But I'm telling you right now, and I know he would wear players thin on some level, and he's not for everyone. But no coach is for everyone. All right? I would go completely against the script of baseball right now, and I would hire someone old school, crazy old school, like Will Clark. I really would. I'm dead serious.
So
I would flip baseball upside down. While everyone's zigging, I would be zagging.
So would you flip it this offseason?
No, but I'm saying that was my next hire. Right. But this would never happen under Farm because they have a whole philosophy that starts at the top, comes all the way down. But again, I've told you, this year has cemented my opinion. I am against this style of baseball.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this baseball.
I don't like it at all.
It's a small market baseball. What? To me, this is small market baseball.
No, this is overthinking baseball.
Yeah, overthinking, small market. Yeah, I look at it as like, this is small market. You're penny pitching. You're finding guys like Yaz and Slater, and you're playing these guys every single day and saying, hey, go compete with the Dodgers and Padres. You're not even competing with the Diamondbacks right now.
But why do we do this in other sports where, for example, in football, everyone's a passing league, and yet you got guys like Shanahan and LaFleur that are trying to
the ball down your throat.
Exactly, right? Or there'll be defensive-minded teams as opposed to offensive-minded teams. You even see this in basketball. Everyone's going 3-ball. We're going to play through Jokic. We're going to play through Embiid, our big man, right? You have teams that zag when others zig. I look at baseball as a whole. If everyone's doing deep analytics and deep shifting and swinging for the fences, and we're not going to worry about a batting average and all that, I would at least try to go in the opposite direction.
Well, I look at
but why is no one in baseball doing that?
I look at the Braves. They, to me, have an old school approach to their style of play. Now,
I agree with that.
But the way they trot out their lineup.
Cardinals feel old school.
Yeah, Cardinals feel old school. The Dodgers this year, now they do a lot of shifting, but their lineup feels old school. Where
because they go the other way.
What? Right.
The Giants try to pull the ball more than any team in baseball by the numbers.
It doesn't make sense to me. Well,
they don't have hitters that are full hitters. They don't have guys that can use the whole field.
So I want to get to something. I want to continue on this, and then we'll get to Niners at 7:20. You are listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco, always live on the free Odyssey app. Download the Odyssey app and favorite 95.7 The Game for the best and most up-to-date sports coverage. And don't forget that you can also watch us every single day on our YouTube and Twitch streams. Just log out and search 95.7 The Game. Joe Shasky the Butcher, Bonte Hill, we got Stephen Langford, Sam Lubman, Behind the Glass, as we come to you on a Friday, man. It's a payday Friday on the Morning Roast of Frisco Friday as well. Good morning to everybody out there. Kapler, we're talking Giants and Kapler, Brandon Belt with the bunt in the bottom of the 7th inning. He's got everybody going crazy, including yours truly. It just didn't make sense to me. Didn't make sense. It was indefensible. But Brandon Belt's struggling. He's batting 169 over his last 30 days, and it's a sad end to what could be his final season as a San Francisco Giant. A sad end to his tenure. But we're also looking at Gabe Kapler, who's going back and forth with Slusser, going back and forth with Pavlovich, and he seems a little tight. Fans are already out on Kapler, and a segment of the fans are kind of out on Kapler. And you kind of saw this last season, too, because Farhan Zaidi got most of the credit for the 107.
Most?
Farhan Zaidi got most of the credit. He's a genius. He's a guru. This is Farhan. Trust in Farhan. Where Kapler kind of got overlooked.
We're ready to run John Lynch out of town for a variety of things, and all he's done is hit just nothing but line drives. His entire tenure. His entire tenure hit line drives. Missed here and there. Everybody strikes out.
Right.
Farhan, he hit a grand slam last year in terms of the record and the overall stuff.
Right.
They were ready to give him a 25-year deal. Fans.
Yep. No doubt. No doubt.
We're ready to crush Lynch because the quarterback and one of the wide receivers couldn't hit each other in the Super Bowl. In the Super Bowl.
What about Bob Myers?
I mean, Bob Myers has multiple championships, and people are ready to run him out of town. For Gary Payton II, not re-signing after winning a championship. But that's kind of my biggest thing, and I've talked about this a couple times this year.
Yeah.
The way we talk about the Giants, the way the Giants are covered is so different from the other teams, and I always ask why.
Well, I've been asking you this because we do go hard on the Niners, and we go hard on the Warriors. And we had to panic meter out for the Warriors. They're a top 3 team in the Western Conference, in a loaded conference, and we had to panic meter out for them. We're talking about Bitch and Clay. We're talking about whether Poole should start. We were arguing about everything when it comes to the Warriors, and they were having a great bounce-back season. They ended up winning the championship. And then 2 weeks later, everybody's going crazy, like you said, over Gary Payton II. And, oh, my gosh, if they don't sign Looney, this is a terrible offseason. Everybody's ready to rip their hair out. Lynch and Shanahan last year. How many fights did we get into on air over these guys? Lynch, Shanahan, and Garoppolo. We went crazy every single week and ended up in the NFC Championship game and giving us a memorable ride down to the NFC Championship game. And all I remember is every Niner fan hugging each other at the end of SoFi saying, we'll be back. We'll be back. Remember those hugs?
There feels to be a sense of urgency with the other teams from the top down.
But why not the Giants?
Because I'm gonna say I don't feel that same sense of urgency from anyone. Whenever I see Farhan getting interviewed, he's laid back, smiling. I'm just giving you my impression.
Legs crossed.
Yeah, and he's like, ha 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 ha. Like he has got years of runway. When I hear Shanahan feels like he's in the middle of a bunker of World War I, and like there is tear gas all around him. And if they don't win this week, he might sacrifice one of his children.
All hell's breaking loose.
Right?
All hell's breaking.
When I see Bob Myers, and he smiles, you could feel the pressure on his face.
No doubt.
And he's like, we don't want to waste, any minute of Steph Curry's career. There's a sense of urgency.
Right.
Yet I'm just going off of how I see you. When I see Farhan, it's like we're sitting in Hawaii and we're like, hit me up in 2028.
Well, I asked Mark Willard this, and he said, no, people do come at Farhan like this, and I don't see that. I don't see the same lens. I'm not looking through the same lens as Mark Willard when I see Farhan and Gabe Kapler. Feels like they have a lot of clout. And just take the last 2 days, for example. And I've been off the rails when it comes to the Giants because I do care about them.
No, but
I want them to win.
Can I defend you? Hold on, you finish and I'll defend you.
Let me finish real quick. Because the perception of that was you're so negative when it comes to the Giants, Bonte. You're so negative. And I'm like, I grew up in the city. The Giants were my first love. It was Giants, Niners, 1A, 1B. Right? Tears. Remote controls were broken. When the Giants finally won in 2010, I said, thank the heavens, man. I finally see the Giants win.
I didn't think it was going to happen.
I didn't think it was ever going to happen. I cared so much about them, and I still do. But I'm so weary of their future and what's going on with the Giants. Like, I don't know where they're going to go. Like, Rodon, to me, I'm like, man, it would be great to keep Rodon. I don't think he's staying. Why would he stay? But then people are saying, no, Bonte, you're negative. And I'm saying to myself, I talk the same way about the Niners and the Warriors. We crushed those teams. We crushed them. Why is it bad when we crush the Giants?
Well, we care. And I want to defend you on this point. Football, 17 games a year. If you're 16, if you make the playoffs, great. We're talking about this much time. I mean, I'm putting my fingers up here in the air, a couple inches of time. Basketball, I'm putting my hands at, the width of my body. That's how much time we invest in basketball.
Right.
We invest the most amount of time watching baseball.
Yep.
Even if you're a casual fan, you are going to watch and be in the year of baseball. Baseball's all year round, essentially, in terms of the schedule. We put so much time in baseball. So to me, I'm actually, while we're in the middle of it, I feel so connected because I'm watching it every single day.
162.
Right? And when they don't perform, it does bug me. It drags me down. When they're doing well, I got to pep in myself.
Right.
Yeah, the Giants, I can't
Feels
wait.
good.
And it feels like that companion follows you all spring, all summer, and into the fall. Right? Whereas you look at football, it's like, Sunday, I'm going to be in front of my TV for 3 or 4 hours, and it will affect my energy throughout the week. Don't get me wrong. And I'll get a pep in my step when we win and whatnot. But it doesn't carry with me every single night. I turn the TV on, and I'm watching this team, and it drives me nuts watching them. And so it does make me actually more miserable during baseball season because I get more frustrated. And the civic pride is attached to it.
It is.
Because this team is one of the teams that you're watching in and out every single day.
6 days a week, Shasky.
I know. And
we
so
talked yesterday when you were with your pops. You're on the way to the golf course, and I'm like, they just dropped the pop-up, right? I didn't know what the hell was going on. And just like, I watched this team.
I know.
And it affects my entire attitude towards my kid, towards Anna. And I'm just like, I got to stop watching this team for a second. Maybe I just need to listen to them on the radio or something. Honest to God.
Well, in a bad football team, you get through the game and you're mad and you're angry or whatever. And then you can watch other teams because of the way the NFL's structured.
Exactly.
And you can get your football fix off. Baseball, if you're subject, because you're not going to watch Astros or White Sox or Yankees. Most Giants fans are just watching the Giants for the most part.
It's a regional sport.
And when they're playing horrible, it makes you miserable, but you can't turn it off.
You can't.
Because you're addicted to the pain.
Well, I didn't turn it off, right? I watch it. And then Braves and Mets are playing at 420. Shout out to all the weed smokers out there. They're playing at 420. It's DeGrom and Fried. And the intensity in the air at that stadium. I was like, damn. That's baseball.
I know.
When I was yelling yesterday about Yankees Rays, I'm like, you can feel the urgency. It's mid-August. It's the dog days of August. Pennant race baseball is right around the corner. You got this race for the AL wild card. You got this race for the NL wild card. And I'm looking at the Giants. I'm saying, well, there's only 15,000 out there. So that tells me Giants fans are checked out. A lot of Giant fans is checked out and saying, you know what? Show me from my couch.
You know what it feels like to me? And I know we got to get to break here in a second. We're going to get back into it. Nothing matters until down the line. And I hate that in sports.
I hate that.
I hate that in sports.
But not only that, it's down the line, and I don't know who they're going to have down the line.
That's a great point.
That's the thing. I knew the Niners, when they were going into... Okay, I know they got Kittle. No, they have Kittle.
Save it. Save it.
We'll go to the Niners.
This is a bigger philosophical conversation.
All right, let's do it. We'll do that on the other side. That's coming up. Sponsored by Save Mart.